Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm Dr. Cerberus, welcome back to my channel, and today we've got a nice, short, sweet, wham bam, thank you ma'am, rundown of what I think the top 3 ships of each of the ship classes will be for the upcoming Season 7 of Ranked Battles. Where I list a premium ship, I will try and recommend a tech tree alternative with as similar a playstyle as possible, and briefly note any significant differences. In case you are unaware, Ranked Season 7 starts tomorrow, which at the time of recording is Monday the 17th of August and lasts for 2 weeks, and is for Tier 6 ships only. With that out of the way, let's get the jolly on and let's get started. Taking a look at my preferred class, the battleship, I'll be honest, I struggled with these last season and probably won't focus on this time round, but for those that do, here's my 3 of what to watch out for. Going at number 3, I have HMS Nelson, with her 9 406mm guns mounted in the front and a heal that can restore a whopping 40% of her hit points. This larger than life lady is sure to show you a good time. Her guns are accurate and hard hitting with excellent firing angles along the forward flanks, but like most ships can only get 2 turrets firing dead ahead. In Nelson's, you don't want to be the centre of attention, but you also don't want to be bringing up the rear. Try and find some middle ground and prioritise your threats rather than solely going for damage. Work with your cruisers and destroyers to avoid being flanked and ensure that you always have targets to shoot. Your slow speed and poor manoeuvrability means that if you're not with the team, you're going to be isolated and you'll find yourself easy pickings for the nearby destroyers. If you find yourself in a position where you are being flanked, you have to try and angle your belt as much as possible, paying attention to shell trajectories and where they're hitting on your ship. Your sizzle is enormous and sits high above the waterline and is ripe for farming if you're reckless. If you don't have Nelson, then King George V makes an excellent alternative. She's quick, well armoured, has excellent HE with a decent reload, but only supports 14-inch rifles and does not get the super heal. You can pretty much get away with playing her like Nelson with the added speed, allowing you to reposition more easily, and remember that your AP shells will not overmatch battleship bows, so keep them in reserve for the broadsides only. Moving on to number 2, we're looking at the Sun-Up. This hulking chunk of selenium is another force to be reckoned with excellent 406mm guns that gain accuracy as you close the distance, thick armour, a chunky hit point pool, and hard-hitting all-round shells with great travel times and flat trajectories. This ship can single-handedly hold down a flank, so long as you shield those broadsides. The playstyle of Sun-Up is somewhat similar to Nelson in that you want to avoid showing the flat sides thanks to her big juicy citadel, but most ships will struggle to do substantial damage with correct positioning. Take note, however, that just because she's fast and has a good reverse does not mean you want to go charging into the fray. A 960m turning circle, somewhat lackluster turret traverse, and a long 33-second reload are downsides here. Sun-Up is also a double-edged sword in the consumables department. She has limited use of a damage control party with a 10-second duration, but does have a much quicker reload of 40 seconds, but you do only have 3 charges, so you need to be tactical in your use. As those battleships have a catapult fighter as standard, you can swap that out for a spotter plane for the extra accuracy on your next salvo. Moving on to number 1, well, it's cliche to have this one here, but really it's a solid choice nonetheless. While her sister has bigger guns, Scharnhorst makes list because of her excellent reload, turret traverse, bristle secondary armament and good mobility. She also has torpedoes. While her low caliber guns will have mediocre results against battleships and can be incredibly infuriating at long range, they are perfect for eating up bold cruiser commanders who are charging up to the horizon. That reasonable reload time also means that, in comparison to other battleships, Scharnhorst is also reasonably well placed when harassing destroyers when push comes to shove. Moving with the vanguard of your team, prioritising taking on cruisers, as well as attracting the enemy attention early on will reveal the locations of the opposition, and a well-coordinated team can use this window of opportunity to pick off the threats. Keeping your wits about you, making active manoeuvres to mitigate that incoming fire, and a careful choice of your targets is key to your survival. Be mindful of any torpedoes, however, as this ship does have quite a long rudder shift and has quite a long turning radius, but don't be afraid to get down and dirty with those that don't have torpedoes. If you don't have Scharnhorst but do have Gneisenau, then you can play that ship almost the same. However, you do need to consider that there are 3 significant differences here. You have slower traverse speed, you have a lower reload, and you only have 6 guns. So whereas the Scharnhorst can make a good go at destroyer hunting, gunning them down in a Gneisenau should only be attempted if either you have no one else to shoot at, you've got no one else to shoot it for you, or if it's an immediate danger to you. You know, I really think I should have just done this as a list of 5, but whatever. Moving on to cruisers, and I suspect there's going to be a handful of Angry Reds froth at the mouth here on my selection. A careful note here though, because she is not currently available, I have not included Belfast. Otherwise, she would be my number 1 pick. But, moving on to number 3 for the cruisers, we have Indianapolis. With solid gun handling, punchy shells, even if they are a little on the slow side, Indianapolis has the party trick of having a fantastic 9.9km radar, which has a 25-second duration. Take note though, your guns are 203mm, which means you'll likely only be able to get off 2 salvos at most during that radar burst. To guarantee that those pesky destroyers are sent on a one-way trip to Atlantis, make sure you pop that radar near a contested cap with allied fire support. Indianapolis is a solid all-round ship, able to dance around with excellent agility at long range in open water and fling shells effortlessly over islands from behind cover. You don't have torpedoes though, which can be troublesome if a battleship pushes your little island away through. As a cruiser, avoid going anywhere solo if you can help it. Try and stick with a battleship if you can, because that battleship can act as a meat shield for you. If you don't have Indianapolis, so long as you don't mind the lack of a radar, New Orleans is the natural alternatively. She has very reliable guns and the best interior rudder shift when spec'd appropriately, which can get down to a tantalising 2 seconds, making annoying battleships the HE and AP at long range an absolute breeze. Time to go a bit off kilter with my next choice, and this is the first of the French torpedo in my lists, Algerie. While lacking the outright agility of Indianapolis and New Orleans, and the flat base speed of shores, spoiler alert, as well as having no radar, when it comes to dealing with cruisers and battleships, I am struggling to think of a better, more rounded alternative. Algerie has the same range on her guns as Shores, so this makes her quite a capable sniper. She also has the joint fastest reload time of equal to heavy cruisers at 12 seconds, along with a very respectable 15% fire chance. She also comes equipped with a single triple torpedo launcher on each side, which have quite long range and very respectable damage. While this may not sound particularly stand out, she does come equipped with an engine boost which has a 15% increase to your speed, which means she's able to relocate really quickly. At a distance, she can evade fairly effectively when using a combination of throttle control, maneuvering and outright speed. Algerie is best played mid to long range to maximise your evasion chances, but raining down fire from your solid reload and accurate guns. Algerie also makes for a capable flanker and an excellent cruiser at chasing down ships between cap circles. Be wary though, to get all the guns off, you do need to show a fair bit of broadside, and HE has an annoying habit of disabling your rudder, so builds that reduce your rudder repair time, e.g. steering gear mods, are essential. And of course, at number 1 we have the Shores. No cruiser list would be complete without a shout out for the Russian light cruisers, and this one unfortunately is no different. Shores, when equipped with the commander with equilibrium power, is an almost unbeatable combination of speed, utility and raw firepower. She's the only Tech Tree Tier 6 ship with radar, something which is a huge sticking point with many people, but the trade-off here is that while it does have a 9km range, unlike Indianapolis, it is only a 15-second duration. Shores can be an excellent destroyer hunter thanks to her straight line speed, rapid rate of fire, and outside of the premium US commander Einstein, Russia is currently the only nation with a dedicated cruiser commander able to use the intuitive skill which shows the approximate location of the nearest enemy. Once the destroyers are dead, it's time to move around and farm the salty tiers of battleships with your HE and start your collection of arsonists and wither medals from 16km plus. With good speed comes a bit of length, and with a bit of length comes a problem with agility. Shores is a long ship that cannot turn very well, has paper thin armour, and once you're caught with the knickers down, you had better hope that the enemy has brought lube, or that RNG has blessed you and makes the enemy miss. And while you do have a quadruple torpedo launcher on each side, don't expect to be able to use them aggressively or use them very often, because they do only have a 4km range, which means they're only really much use for surprising plebs that push around your island and forget that you have them, or by ambushing distracted targets at close range. I am well aware that I have entirely ignored Fiji, which I have gone on record to say that I think is one of the best Tier 6 cruisers. But in ranked, she is dependent on your team spotting while you loiter in your smoke screen, hence her admission because team's the potatoes. Switching targets to those annoying sea sausage spamming pricks and destroyers. I love you really, kinda. This section is a little different due to the completely different balance between destroyers versus other classes. Instead, I'm going to pick one ship from each of the 3 major playstyles of destroyers and give a rundown as to why I think that is the case. First up, we have the tried and tested AKATSUKI. This little bastard can spew torpedoes out at an alarming rate and deny an entire cap circle all in its little lonesome. Excellent concealment, high speed, and its 3 triple torpedo launchers having an ungodly reload. It is easy to see why, when it comes to battleship captains, the AKATSUKI is up there with the most feared. AKATSUKIs built for full stealth do, however, have a major weakness. Their guns, while having strong HE alpha, have terrible handling characteristics with poor reverse speed and reload, and the ship itself has a very low amount of hit points, as well as little in the way of options of knowing where other DDs are, except for the occasional outspotting with a few hundred meters leeway. Because of this, Akatsuki can stay close to the fight, but you need to be careful not to get too close. She also makes a fantastic ship for area denial for that initial sprint to the first cap circle. The trick for her though is to just not be seen more so than other destroyers. Hint, if you were smart and picked up Van Helsingr as a commander during the Halloween week, you'll be pleased to note he makes an excellent choice during rank battles because he's the only commander in game which has both fragile threat and twist and track, so you can stay exceptionally well concealed and have a rough idea of where your nearest threat is. The next recommendation was somewhat more of a challenge for me, the role of the Hunter. I considered Benson, Jervis, Cossack, MAASS and Z39, but ultimately the role of Hunter for me as a recommendation goes to MAASS. It comes with an excellent combination of firepower in the form of 5 128mm guns with a quick rate of fire, above average hit points, some excellent commander skill choices, decent concealment, respectable torpedoes and an array of consumables. Playstyle here will be acting as both a screen for your battleships, detecting any incoming torpedoes and hunting down enemy destroyers using a combination of engine boost, twist and track and your sonar. This ship excels in the multi-role category and is pretty much second to none for at the tier for contesting cap circles. Once you've dealt with the enemy destroyers in the cap, steal their smokes if you can, cap the circle, take a few pot shots to torpedoes at the nearby capital ships, and then use your own concealment to slink away to take through the caps. In terms of stats, you might not be the best of anything, but you have an arsenal of tools which allow you to do well at everything. And finally, onto the run and gun. Once again, this is a tough one to decide, but ultimately, while I did not have her myself, I have played her and can attest to her strength, VAUQUELIN. This is the balls of steel pedal to the metal ship. When upgraded, you have the amongst the highest number of DD hit points. You are one of the fastest, with the second biggest guns, and some pretty spicy torpedoes, all packaged together with main battery reload booster and a 20% engine boost consumable. The catch? Well, you don't have a smoke screen for one, and your rudder shift isn't that great. Neither is your concealment, but you do have the maximum amount of firepower and fun permitted for ships of such a small stature. Your playstyle is simple: a head flank, full evasive maneuvers. If you see an enemy ship, shoot it, and don't stop shooting until it's either dead or permanently on fire from bow to stern. Rinse and repeat. If you get into close quarters with a destroyer, if it has a faster reload than you, then simply load your HE, hit that reload booster, and watch its hit points disappear. Come across the broadside cruiser, that's fine. Load the AP, and if you haven't used your reuse booster already, pop it, and then farm those citadels. If you get a chance to torpedo a battleship, then you should take it without any hesitation. If you find yourself taking too much damage, disengage, peel back until the heat dies down, and then come back for some more. Always have an escape strategy. The only time the VAUQUELIN should stop moving is if you need to cap a base, in which case you need to stay behind cover, or of course, if you like to borrow somebody else's smokescreen. And so, that brings to a close my rather quick fire rundown of the ships I think are going to be the ones to watch in the next rank season. Disagree with any of my choices? Excellent! Leave your comments and feedback below and get discussing. If you have enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, follow and subscribe, as it does help the channel out greatly. And if you watch it on YouTube, don't forget to check out the links in the description below, which will take you to my other platforms such as Twitch and Facebook, as long as a link to my shiny new website, notcerberus.com. Next project for me will be taking a look at some tech tree ships with Edinburgh, Charles Martel, Charlemagne and Lightning reviews planned in the coming weeks. What's left for me to say now is thanks for watching, take care, and I'll catch you next time.